welcome, friends and family. I gotta get my presenter voice on. What? Oh,
Turn the
talking
mic
into
up a
the
little
mic.
bit.
Okay, thank you.
Either turn it up or just like have it
Okay,
on
I'll
screen.
turn it just slightly. I want to blast
Right.
something or anything with my voice. Is that okay?
That's fine.
If I talk normal? Okay, good.
Yeah, just talk normal. I'm talking normal.
I'm talking normal. Bob's Burgers reference for everything. Okay. Welcome everybody, in person and online. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Bang check. Are my bangs banging?
Banging.
They're banging. Okay,
Mhm.
good. All right, here we are. My name is Mary Weibel. If you didn't know, most people here know my name and who I am. But I am a health and life coach, and today we will be exploring medicinal mushrooms. The name of this series is Medicinal Marvels, and for the last the last presentation was on 3 specific mushrooms that have medicinal properties, and today we are going to explore 3 more medicinal mushrooms. Alright, so we will be identifying 3 of those medicinal mushrooms. We will be exploring how they benefit our overall health, and we will be learning how to incorporate them in our daily lives. So, I did this with the first class. This is also some information I think everyone should know when they're approaching mushrooms. This is the life cycle of the mushroom and how it comes to be. So it's kind of like chicken or the egg, like which came first. And ultimately, the fruiting body is like 1% of what mushrooms are. The other parts are the spores that then start replicating in chains, and there's 2 different kinds. I can't remember the names of each kind, but they're both considered hyphae. And then they start multiplying and reproducing in chains that then combine to form this mycelial network underground. And it is vast, and it is ancient, and it also connects all living plant and fungi matter on the earth. It literally is like the neurons in our brain. They continuously reproduce and create these new pathways that help the fungi and the plants communicate with one another about resources, about different ecological events that are happening on the earth, about animals, about even humans. And the fact that this is all happening under our feet, and sometimes when it reproduces and it's ready to spread more spores, this fruiting body pops up out of the ground. Like with all the rain that we've got, we were walking around the Olathe Community Center, and we were just looking around, and little white mushroom caps were just popping up everywhere, and it's because it's wet and things are dying and also growing. It's spring, so life is reproducing and coming back to life, and death is a major part of that cycle. And so mushrooms do eat dead things, and they also help to clean the environment. One thing I wanted to not forget to mention this time is that specific kinds of mushrooms, I can't remember if it's oyster mushrooms or, I think it may be oyster mushrooms actually, they're using them to clean up radioactive waste, like in Chernobyl and different areas that have radiation in the ground. It literally absorbs the radiation into the fruiting body of the mushroom, which cleans it out of the soil. Crazy. It is crazy the impact that mushrooms have on our society, not only our human society, but also our most important natural society, our nature, our mama. And this is what that mycelial network looks like underground. So it looks like strands, it looks like a web, like a spider web, or like the neurons in our brains, essentially. And it is just too coincidental that it looks like this underground, and these mycelium create the fruiting bodies that help our human bodies function so optimally. Like it's just not a coincidence, honestly, the fact that we have this interconnected relationship with these mushrooms. So yeah, I'm just flabbergasted every time. And so 95% of the mycelial matter of these mushrooms that exist is underground. So we don't see a lot of it. The fruiting body is literally 1 to 5% of what actually exists to the naked eye. So it's also, this is a really cool diagram because it shows how it's connected to the roots systems of trees and how they have a symbiotic relationship where they can communicate when a tree is dying. So then the mushrooms go and absorb it essentially through either parasitic or strictly like symbiotic relationships. As we learned last time, they are, reishi mushrooms are parasitic. They attack, and chaga mushrooms too. They find these optimal trees and then just kind of start taking over. But sometimes they are purely just like helping to metabolize the dead things that are in our environment to kill it, absorb it, use that energy for positive purposes, and then move on and help other things grow. So we're going to start looking at the species that we're talking about today. The first one is cordyceps, and there are 2 different kinds. There's a lot of different kinds, but the 2 ones that I focused on today are cordyceps sinensis. Cordyceps sinensis, thank you, and then cordyceps militaris. I knew how to pronounce that second one. The first one I was a little shaky. Okay. So the physical characteristics of these mushrooms. There are 2 different kinds. So the first one here, it is long. Well, both of them are long and spindly, and they have a small club at the top. That's kind of what this part is. And then as you can see in this picture, there's just like a round club top. As it grows up, it forms this club. And then they can be brown or bright orange in color. The stalks of the cordyceps are called the stroma. So this is the stroma. This fungus attacks the larva of some species of insects and converts the larva to sclerotium, from which the fruiting body grows. So this is a certain species of caterpillar. I can't remember which one it was, but essentially it takes over this caterpillar's body and then eventually starts to create that fruiting body out of it. So the fungus is inside of the caterpillar, and it takes over the entire nervous system of the caterpillar, and some scientists say that it can actually benefit the caterpillar in some way because it elongates its life, but at the same time the fungus is helping to kind of kill the caterpillar at the same time so that it can eventually take over it and then create the fruiting body. So this one is interesting.
So it's more of a parasitic and symbiotic relationship.
It's parasite.
Yeah.
But it creates this fruiting body that has just a world of benefits. Yeah. So we're going to explore that. Yeah. And the history of this mushroom, it has been used for centuries. It comes, the name of it, cordyceps, is derived from 2 Latin words, cord and ceps, meaning club and head, respectively. So as it looks, so it is named. Since 1964, only the cordyceps sinensis. It's been recorded officially as an herbal drug in Chinese pharmacopoeia, and it is also named winter worm summer grass, and it's one of the most famous traditional Chinese medicines and medicinal mushrooms. So the cordyceps sinensis has been predominantly seen and used and grown in high altitude regions like China, Nepal, Tibet, and India. And although this location combined with other harvesting, it has made it difficult for cordyceps to be rendered, because this is the one that comes from the caterpillar, and because it's surged in popularity, it kind of makes it more difficult to get a hold of. And then the cordyceps militaris has been the substitute for that first one because it's easily cultivated and it can be done in labs, indoors, in more controlled environments. So it's much more popular and a lot more affordable. So the Cordyceps militaris, it belongs to the phylum classification of Ascomycota, and it is produced internally inside a sac called the ascus, and it is an entomopathogenic fungus. Having an annual appearance, which often grows parasitically. Hi, Alice.
Hello.
Good to see you. Can you see any? Are you able?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just finished playing basketball. So.
Oh, cool. So it grows
Yes.
parasitically on lepidopteran larvae and pupae of insects and spiders, and it normally inhabits on the surface of insects' pupae in winters, leading to the formation of the fruiting body in the summer, justifying its name winter worm summergrass. So it takes over in winter, and then the fruiting body shows up in the summer. So which one is better, and what's the difference between them, aside from the fact that one obviously grows inside a caterpillar, the other one grows in larvae? So Cordyceps sinensis is actually higher in a specific, I believe it's a polysaccharide. It's higher in adenosine. It's higher in adenosine. It's good for the heart and energy specifically, and then that one is the more expensive one. And then the Cordyceps militaris is higher in cordycepin, which we will talk more about in just a moment. It's good for disease, immunity, inflammation, and regulating cell growth, and that one is the more affordable one usually. Okay. There were a couple studies that I saw as well on the effects of cordyceps, and one of them talks specifically about boosting energy and metabolism. So in this study, the cordyceps extract was able to reduce body weight gain and food efficiency ratio induced by a high-fat diet. So essentially they grabbed people who were on a high-fat diet, fed them cordyceps for, I think it was like 14 to 30 days, and then they took blood to see what their blood looked like in their fat deposits, and it helped to reduce fat, which was crazy, yeah. And the amount of epidermal fat and size of adipocytes were also decreased by the cordyceps. In addition, liver weight and fat deposition in the liver were dramatically reduced in cordyceps treatment, and it also showed benefits on plasma parameters related to lipid profile. So it's also heavily affecting your liver because the fat content and your liver, they go hand in hand and they want to be balanced. So cordyceps is able to help do that. So it also increases aerobic capacity, it improves endurance, and it supports asthmatics. And so cordyceps, let me explain. Okay, because I think the first few things are explaining like what the study that I was looking at kind of led up to. So oxygen uptake is a term used to describe how breathing increases during exercise to deliver oxygen to our muscles. The maximum amount of oxygen a person can uptake during the exercise is referred to as the VO2 max, so the volume of oxygen max. The higher a person's oxygen max generally, the better their aerobic fitness, so we want to have a high VO2 max. Multiple studies with human participants showed that cordyceps doses of 3 to 4.5 grams per day were associated with an increased volume of oxygen. So their bodies were able to increase their oxygen intake through supplementation. And one study also showed that participants performed better on high-intensity exercise tests and improved markers of cardiorespiratory fitness, including the VO2 max and ventilatory threshold after 3 weeks of cordyceps supplementation. So I immediately thought of you when I saw this, because I was like, increasing the endurance and just being able to take in more oxygen. That also benefits like people who suffer from fatigue and needing more oxygen to their brain and different places in their body. So it supports the kidneys and liver as well. So various active ingredients in the cordyceps, they have anti-inflammatory effects, and they have been shown to protect against liver and kidney fibrosis through anti-inflammatory effects. So the cordyceps downregulate apoptosis, which is a programmed cell death, and ischemia, which is the lack of blood to a certain area or organ or just in your body, lack of blood flow, and reperfusion injury. And cyclosporine A induced renal tubular dysfunction. Those are a lot of words, but essentially it helps to make sure that blood is flowing to wherever it needs to be effectively, and it downregulates that apoptosis, which is the point at which cells program themselves to die. So it kind of keeps them alive. Interesting. And for anyone who is thinking about needing some assistance in the bedroom, it also boosts libido because the cordyceps militaris contains a bioactive compound called cordycepin, and that adenosine and the polysaccharides, which can influence sexual desire and performance, and specifically it stimulates that nitric oxide, which improves blood flow to the genital area and promotes sexual arousal. So, cordyceps.
What a treat.
All right, so the next one we're going to explore is shiitake, and its scientific name is Lentinula edonis. I need to look up how to pronounce it before I start trying to say them. Woo! Because it's one thing to look at them, it's a completely other thing to pronounce them. Obviously. Okay. So the physical characteristics of shiitake, we're looking at these umbrella-shaped caps. These are ones that actually have stems. So cordyceps, they have stems, and the clubhead, we were looking at other ones like lion's mane and chaga, which just kind of grow directly out of the tree. Mushrooms, they actually do have the stems and the caps. They have wide open veils, which are on the stems and underneath the caps. They have tan gills underneath their caps, and they also have the curved stems. So they vary from dark brown to tan with crackled appearance and maturity as they grow. And they grow in groups on decaying wood of deciduous trees, which are die trees, particularly she and other chinquapins. Yeah, I think that's a kind of tree. Chestnut, oak, maple, beech, sweet gum, poplar, hornbeam, ironwood, and mulberry. So shiitake is, honestly, I feel like it's one of the easier ones to grow. When we were looking at growing our own mushrooms, you can literally find like logs at your local compost place, or like your where people drop off different like yard clippings and things. You can go there and just pick up like a stump or something and drill holes into it, and then inoculate it with like they have like grow packs, so you can inoculate it with like the spores of the mushrooms and grow it in your backyard. It's like so easy. Shiitake mushrooms are one of the easier ones to grow. All right, so the history of the shiitake mushrooms is traced back to the Cretaceous period, over 100 million years ago. It's found growing wild in the mountainous regions of China, Japan, Indonesia, and Taiwan. The earliest known record of the shiitake cultivation dates to 1209, and that is during the Song Dynasty in China. This makes it the oldest known cultivated mushroom. The name shiitake comes from the Japanese shi, the name of the tree it grew on, and take, for mushroom. Commercial production of the shiitake mushroom kicked off in the 1930s, and the mushrooms were grown on hardwood logs. Later, they were grown on sterilized sawdust, which allowed for faster production. Today, it's cultivated all over the world, either on artificial substrate, sawdust, or on hardwood logs, often oak logs. And shiitake mushrooms make up about a quarter of all cultivated mushrooms in the world.
Wow.
And they're also delicious.
Yes, they are.
Wait, so shiitake mushrooms are a quarter of all produced mushrooms in the world?
And cultivated mushrooms, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. For a long time.
Yeah.
So the medicinal properties of shiitake are vast. They have a lot of numerous minerals such as potassium, manganese, magnesium, iron, and phosphorus, as well as vitamins, provitamin D2, vitamin B1, B2, B6, B12, and niacin. So it's just very nutritious overall. And they contain essential macro and micronutrients, as well as bioactive compounds, including these polysaccharides, antioxidants, dietary fiber, and ergosterol. I'm gonna say that again. And specifically that ergosterol is a provitamin. It has been well established that the medicinal mushrooms, the edible mushrooms that we have, are an excellent source of that vitamin D2, which most humans are deficient in because we kind of get the vitamin D from the sun, and since we're all not outside soaking in the sun all the time, we're pretty deficient in that one. And vitamin D is so important for our function. So the shiitake mushroom is a great source of vitamin D because ergosterol is a precursor that is converted to vitamin D2 under ultraviolet radiation. The pharmacological effects of ergosterol, which include antimicrobial, antioxidant, I put antimicrobial twice, anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, anti-neurodegenerative, and other activities have also been reported. So they contain phenolics, polysaccharides, sterols that play a major role in bodily functions that result in improved health of all individuals. And it's been seen to have high antioxidant properties that make it a functional food with positive impact on human health. The antioxidant compounds are believed to protect the cells from free radicals, which can cause cancer, heart, and other diseases. I really like this chart here because it talks about all of those functional compounds, and I wanted to go into ergosterol a little bit more because that one is just really, really important. And then all of these compounds then translate to all of these nutraceutical properties. I really like that term because it's including the nutrition of the thing and the compounds that make it pharmaceutical as well in its function. So these are nutraceutical properties: antimicrobial, antiviral, anti-neoplastic, anti-tumor, anti-cancer, antioxidant, anti-diabetic, anti-obesity, hepatoprotective, hypocholesтеролemic, and immunomodulatory. And I'm giving myself a pat on the back because that was so much.
You did that.
So I wanted to go into some of those. Everyone kind of knows what antiviral, anti-tumor, anti-cancer means, but some of those ones there at the end were a little confusing, so I just wanted to break it down. So anti-neoplastic is attributed to a sugar molecule named lentinin, which we've had extensive research done, and in laboratory tests, lentinin does not kill cancer cells directly, but it enhances a number of aspects of the immune system, which may aid in the slowing of tumor growth. So it's not killing the cells, but it is helping to keep immune function proper and efficient as to decrease the amount of growth of tumors. Hypercholesterolemic. Yeah, there we go. Hypercholesterolemia is when both your total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol levels are in the bottom 5% trusted source of the general population. So this means that your cholesterol is low. And so in a study, shiitake mushrooms decreased the concentrations of lipidemia-related factors in rat sera, so their blood, irrespective of sex. The shiitake mushroom elicited reduction of lipophilic antioxidant capacity, irrespective of sex, may reflect a lower pro-oxidative state and hence improved metabolic profile. All right, the next one we're looking at is turkey tail, and its scientific name is Tramatus versicolor. And this one is my favorite one to look at. It's very pretty. So it has these semicircular caps which form around tree trunks, and they may look kind of big in this picture here, but so when we went to Oregon for my cousin's wedding, we went out into the forests of the Pacific Northwest, and these guys were just growing everywhere. Like there would be like humongous dropped trees and just turkey tail all over them. It was incredible to see. But they do grow, they can. I don't know how big they get, but the ones that we saw were relatively small, but they grow just like wildfire. The caps are thin and tough with very clear, velvety, concentrated rings of colors. You can see those colors vary from brown, yellow, gray, purple, green, and black. The outer margin is always pale, either cream or white, so that can be a helpful indicator when you're in the wild and you're trying to decipher if it is turkey tail or not, because there are a lot of lookalikes. And they grow on alder, ash, aspen, beech, birch, chestnut, elm, eucalyptus, hickory, honey, locust, maple, oak, plum, poplar, sweet, pecan, walnut, ironwood, and cherry. They grow almost everywhere, it seems. They grow all over the place. So this one is widely found in North America, Asia, and Europe, and they are found on almost all continents. They're used in Eastern medicine for thousands of years to treat various health conditions and concerns. Most of its traditional use stems from the ancient China and Japan, where medicinal mushrooms were enthusiastically embraced in healing and medicine, which makes complete sense because it was just a natural resource out in the wild that when you found it, you could just take it home and literally eat it, and it would benefit your health in a variety of ways. So it makes complete sense. Turkey tail was mentioned in the first written text on medicinal herbs from the Han Dynasty, Shenon Ben Chao Jing, around 200 BC. There's also record of the turkey tail in the Compendium of Materia Medica from the Ming Dynasty in the 15th century. It became even more popular in the past decade. I guess in 2011, there was a TED Talk by well-known mycologist Paul Stamets, who told the story of his mom. Oh yeah, and if you don't know who Paul Stamets is, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but if you don't know who he is, he's like I think he is like one of the most well-educated and studied mycologists in the world. I don't know if that's his official title, but he is extremely well known. I think he even had like a show on Netflix or somewhere where he went deeper into mushrooms and like their effect on our world. So look him up, he's awesome. And he has a TED Talk, and he talked about the story of his mom who had cancer and was taking turkey tail to support her health through chemotherapy and stuff. So yeah, look him up. So the medicinal properties of turkey tail are also vast. They have immune boosting and anti-cancer properties, and they specifically contain polysaccharopeptides, which are protein-bound polysaccharides, i.e. carbohydrates. And two of these are pretty important. Crestin, which is also, it is an acronym here. The PSK is an acronym for Crestin, and then polysaccharide peptide is also known as PSP. So if I'm saying that throughout this, those are the two different kinds. But they're polysaccharide peptides found in turkey tails, and they promote immune response by both activating and inhibiting specific types of immune cells and by suppressing inflammation. And in a study, they used test tube studies, and they demonstrated that PSP increases monocytes, which are types of white blood cells that fight infection and boost immunity. And Crestin stimulates dendritic cells, which promote immunity to toxins and regulate the immune response in our body. In addition, PSK activates natural killer cells, a type of white blood cell that helps protect against pathogens and cancerous tumors. Due to their ability to naturally strengthen the immune system, both of these guys are commonly used as anti-cancer agents in conjunction with surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, or a combination of those treatments in countries like Japan and China. So over there, they're already embracing mushrooms. They already know that they have all of these helpful anti-cancer, which is like one of the major things that plagues us as human beings. They already know the effects, and so they're using it in conjunction, it seems, more regularly and consistently with regular treatments for cancer.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So they're using mushrooms and their anti-cancer medicines in the East, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're doing the same in the West, aren't we?
No, I wouldn't say that we are as widely. I think we should be doing more of that, but I don't know that it is too encouraged. I don't think that. So I have a lot of family members that have gone through cancer and chemo and things like that, and I don't know of any doctor that has straight up been like, "Hey, you're going through chemo. Why don't you also take turkey tail mushroom because that helps to support your body's immune function?" You know, I've never heard that. If anything, it's far more lenient and reliant on Western medicinal practices like straight medicine. So
I don't know that I've ever heard a doctor, aside from vitamin D, say anything about taking any supplements to me.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And I feel like there's more like fear around it because they talk about the what is the word I just had?
Side effects.
The side effects of
Mixing medications.
mixing them,
and
essentially. Yeah, there's a word, and I just had it on the tip of my tongue, but they are more hesitant to tell people about any supplement because of the way that it could interact with the medicine that they prescribe.
Should be the other
They're
way
scared
around,
of
if you ask me.
the what?
I was just saying it should be the other way around if you ask me. They should
Yeah.
prescribe them the natural route first and then go with the medications.
Right.
Just me.
And I exactly. If there's been any lesson in any of these classes, it's that they just want to make some money. And so if there's a natural, more affordable way to boost the immune system against cancer, free radicals, then they're not going to tell us about it. It's not going to be advertised right off the bat.
Many times it's not even malicious. They just don't know.
Yeah.
They're not
right.
taught that not that I'm a doctor. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I didn't go to medical school, but
Andre is not a doctor.
I
for
have
everybody
friends that have
listening.
gone to medical school and like they're not taught about supplements. They're not
No.
taught about natural herbs and plants or anything like that. They're
No.
taught strictly pharmaceutical medicine in a modern
Mhm.
Western sense.
Mhm.
They don't know anything about Ayurveda or Taoist medicine or Chinese medicine, nothing like that.
Nothing.
So it's a missing piece. if you
Yeah,
ask me.
it is.
I think modern medicine has its place.
Mhm. For sure.
It absolutely does, but it should be used in conjunction with something like this to do something better. Just me. This is not my class.
Thank
Please
you.
go ahead.
Mom, you look like you're saying something.
I was just going to say, and the fact that going through it with one of the people that you're talking about that had cancer, I didn't know that everything going through cancer is called a regimen. It's like a book. It's like a book of history of the person who had an extraskeletal Ewing sarcoma before you. And I didn't know that. And so like Mary's dad, when she was little, had an extraskeletal Ewing sarcoma. And so what we had was a regimen of what happened with the person that just had it before him.
Oh.
And so what he had, what the regimen that he went through was he had so many chemotherapies, so much radiation, surgery, and then so many after. And that was the regimen that was done with the person before. So that's what they go off of because that's the longevity of that person's life.
Wow.
If they live and they're successful with that, then they use that regimen and that's what they start with. And then he was also written up in a journal by Dr. Rosenthal, giving him a plug because he was a really good oncologist, because his was the new regimen. When he was finished and they got all of his cancer around where his cancer was, then he only had to have so much cleanup chemotherapy, whereas the other person had to have like 24 rounds, he only had to have 3. So then he's put in the regimen book about if this is what happens. A male, this age, this, with a tumor this big, then that's what. So I didn't know that.
Interesting. That is extremely.
Yeah. I didn't know
So
that.
when your regimen is constantly with Western medicine like that, then there's not necessarily, unless somebody interjects,
Right.
a opportunity to put that in either. So don't mean to take over. I'm just saying
No,
that.
thank you for
I
that
didn't.
perspective. I did not.
I didn't
wasn't
know.
aware of
I
that.
didn't know that either.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think that learning from someone's past experience is really valuable. And of course, just like you said, if it isn't brought into the mix for a certain person, then if it's not introduced in any way, then it won't be, you
Yeah,
know,
right,
like
sure.
it just won't happen. So that is really interesting and an insight into the way that our country functions when it comes to cancer. I mean, we're still trying to figure out cancer. Like, it's
Yeah.
something that is not 100% nailed down yet
Sure.
in the slightest, and everybody's body acts in different ways and responds to treatment in different ways and responds to mushrooms in different ways. And so, yeah, I think it's something that, although it hasn't been heavily explored and is still being explored, I think experimentation with it is important and valuable, especially since it's been being used for centuries.
And
Yeah.
there's no
Like these
choice.
mushrooms and these natural medicinal benefits have been used for so long. And
Yeah.
so even if we can't put scientific words to it, we know that for the longest time it's had benefits. So I think that's just extremely important too. So the other important polysaccharopeptide that is included in these properties of the turkey tail is the beta-glucans. And beta-glucans are actually present in a lot of these medicinal mushrooms. I think it's just another one of the aspects of the mushroom that is similar across the board. And it's abundant in turkey tail, which supports healthy immune systems by stimulating the growth and activity of the desired natural intestinal microbiota while inhibiting the growth of pathogens. So the beta-glucans help to support your gut microbiome by suppressing the pathogens and supporting the healthy gut bacteria that we want.
Amazing. Interesting that it helps support the gut microbiome, like supporting the second brain of the body, like
Yeah.
the gut brain, and like they have the mycelial network and the myelin sheaths that like look like the nervous system of the body.
Mhm.
It's so cool. So
And it's so cool.
that's really cool.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So turkey tail also has antioxidant properties, and that can be found in its phenols and flavonoids. And one study detected over 35 different phenolic compounds in a sample of turkey tail mushrooms, along with flavonoid antioxidants quercetin and bioacillin. And I automatically thought of your mom because she likes the quercetin too.
Yes. Yes.
And that specifically, quercetin has been shown to promote the releases of immunoprotective proteins like interferon Y, while inhibiting the release of the pro-inflammatory enzymes cyclooxygenase and lipoxygenase. Phenol and flavonoid antioxidants promote immune system health by reducing inflammation and stimulating the release of protective compounds.
Just so you know, your phone just got warm and it's trying to reconnect.
Oh, okay. We'll turn the brightness down.
How many apps do you have?
I don't know. That's a good question.
I got you. I got you.
You're good, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so turkey tail is also anti-tumor, and one test tube study found that the PSK, the polysaccharopeptide found in turkey tail, inhibited the growth and spread of human colon cancer cells. A certain type of polysaccharide called Coriolis versicolor glucan, CVG, may suppress certain tumors. A study in tumor-bearing mice found that treatment with 45.5 and 90.9 milligrams per pound, or 100 and 200 milligrams per kilogram of body weight of CVG extracted from turkey tail mushrooms, that significantly reduced tumor size. That was a lot of different numbers, but it significantly reduced tumor size in these mice. And a systematic review and meta-analysis found that PSK may improve survival rates in people with colorectal and intestinal cancer, especially when combined with chemotherapy. So just as it said before, with being anti-cancer, anti-tumor, it suppressed the pathogens, which also includes free radicals, and with its antibiotic, antioxidant properties, it is sweeping out those radical cells that are trying to spread and become cancer, and supporting the function of our microbiota.
Wow.
All right, so we're going to talk about integration methods now. So different ways that we can get these in our bodies are going to be capsules, tablets, liquid tinctures, dried powder, and teas. Up here I have a variety of different capsules and powders. And your question, Samantha, in my last class about how to get the best, like how to get it efficiently into our bodies and things, and I said through extracts. I fact checked myself, and I was correct. Thank you, yes. So the most effective and efficient way to get the medicinal effects of these mushrooms is through sublingual absorption, so that's under your tongue. Oh, thank you, you're so sweet. I was just thinking that. I'm like, how do I like start over there and warm the water up? So this speeds up absorption and does not require the stomach and intestines to break down the actual physical fruity body of the mushroom. So the extract, whether it be through like vegetable, what is it, what? It's like, oh shoot. It's not the alcohol, it is the glycerin, there we go. I was like, I know it starts with the glue. Glycol, glyphosate, yes, the glycerin, the vegetable glycerin. So when I'm taking tinctures and extracts and things, I started that kind of understanding of which one is best by looking at things we were giving our dog, because when you give tinctures to animals, the alcohol affects their brain in a little different ways, so you have to be more careful. With animals, you want to give them like a glycerin-based tincture. With humans, we can handle the alcohol a little bit more and better, but it can take a toll on our brain at the same time. So just too much alcohol, obviously not good for the brain, but if you're taking mushroom extracts, I'm not a doctor, I can't say that it's gonna cancel it out or anything, but that is the best way to get the most potent medicinal effects of the mushrooms. So maybe don't go too overboard with the extracts and have too much alcohol in your system, but taking a little bit under your tongue in the morning, I don't think it will affect your brain in that kind of way. So yeah, that's the best way to get the properties as efficiently and effectively as you can. Green light properties for supplements, we're looking for organic, preferably non-GMO, ethically sourced, and pesticide-free. I just pulled these off the shelf over here. They're literally down on the aisle. But most of these are organic, and they will be labeled organic. And then some of them are also non-GMO. And you can't, you might do some reading because, oh my God, this one has Paul Stamets on it, his little face. So what is that brand? Is that the Gaia
Defense
brand?
mushrooms.
Oh, okay, Host Defense mushrooms. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Host Defense. Because we are their hosts,
Yes.
and mushrooms are eating people. I like the sound, you know the sound where it's like, people eat mushrooms. Living people eat dead mushrooms. Dead mushrooms eat, or living mushrooms eat dead people.
Yep.
And it's like this sound on Instagram or something, and it's just like weird music in the background. It's kind of like funky. But anyway, yeah, so those are the properties that we're kind of looking for when it comes to our supplements, any of them, not just mushrooms, but specifically when you're eating plants, when you're supplementing with plants or fungi, you want to avoid as many pesticides as you can. So organic is obviously best. And then I did do a little research to see where you can buy organic and sustainably sourced supplements, if not in the grocery store. We love natural grocers, thank you, natural grocers. But these are also a couple websites that I found online, and they're actually based in the US, so they're not overseas. So mushroomrevival.com had organic mushroom supplements, and therealmushrooms.com, theirs specifically said organic, USA, and sustainably sourced. So, and they had all kinds of capsules and powders and teas and things. If you're looking for a medicinal tea, traditional medicinals is my favorite. And there is also, I guess, this place in Grandview. I don't remember the name of it, but it sells wholesale mushrooms in powders and things. It's on my phone. It's like Spirit of Grandview, something like that. So you can look that one up as well. And then today I brought my mushroom coffee, Rise, and y'all can take a look at it too. It is organic, and if you want to take a look, I'm looking right here. But this one specifically, it is vegan. There are 2,000 milligrams of mushrooms, and it has been rigorously lab tested. It has cordyceps, lion's mane, reishi, shiitake, turkey tail, and king trumpet in it. And it's all organic. It also has organic coffee, MCT oil powder, and organic coconut milk powder in it. It can also, you can like add different creamers and stuff to it if you want. And I have been drinking it for the past few weeks, and I've been adding ashwagandha with it too, which is like another adaptogenic herb and root. I think ashwagandha is a root, yes. And it just like makes my morning. And I also have great poops, and I think that that's a really important thing to say because pooping is important. But I have water here for anybody who wants to try it. You don't have to, but we have cups as well. So if you want some, let me know.
Some of what?
Some of the coffee, some of the mushroom coffee. If you want some, you do. Okay, I'll get it in a second.
I do. I want some.
Yes. And then I wanted to mention a couple different local mushroom connoisseurs and believers and supporters. Casey Mushroom Culture is an up-and-coming mushroom business. They are in Kansas City, and they are raising funds for their restaurant. They make delicious mushroom food like lion's mane sandwiches, and I think they made like a brisket or something, and like they grow their own mushrooms, but they're raising funds because they have to, I can't remember, I think aren't they raising money for their building? Like they have to raise,
open,
they have to raise enough money to open the brick and mortar.
Exactly.
But they do have pop-ups, like just recently at the Earth Beat festival, they had a pop-up there, and it looked delicious. We weren't able to go, I know. But the owners are super sweet too, and if you're looking for an opportunity to invest in their company, they're also giving, I think 44% returns on investing $100. So if you invest $100 into their, or more, into their business, then they will pay you back 44%.
Wait. 44% return?
Yeah.
And what business?
Casey Mushroom Culture
Okay. I appreciate
on
it.
Instagram.
Okay.
They're really cool.
It's
They're really
opening
cool.
on West 39th where Blue Koi used to be.
Oh,
That's where they're
That's where they're
going?
opening. Yes.
Do we know when they're opening?
No, they
No.
don't have a predicted opening date yet because
Yeah.
they're still getting funds
Funds.
together.
Mhm.
And basically they have to reach a certain threshold, or pass a certain threshold, I should say. So big money investors can see that they're a viable option,
Right.
viable investment opportunity, and invest in them in turn.
Mhm.
So
But the community is
the
supporting
community,
them
yes,
right now.
it is a
so-
community-supported investment project.
Right,
now.
right.
Yeah.
So exciting.
Yes.
Yes, and we invested, so.
Yes, we did.
Okay, and then the Myco Planet LLC, they actually have grow kits. So if you're looking to grow your own mushrooms, they have grow kits on their website, and they're local as well. They have varieties of different grow kits for different mushrooms. And none of this is sponsored. I'm literally just telling everybody this because I think it's highly important. So I'm not gaining any money off of this at all. If any of you thought that was the case. Okay, do we have any questions?
Why are you so amazing?
What, so mushrooms are an herb or a fungus or?
They're fungus.
They're fungus. That's what fungus. And
Yes.
what is fungi like plural for fungus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So is mushrooms like food? Like
Yes.
I mean like can you live off mushrooms? Like a meal?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So much.
They have dietary fiber, they have polysaccharides, they got the carbohydrates, they have, what else?
Some protein.
Protein, yeah, actually, yes. And, yeah.
Why do some, okay, hear me on this. Why
Yes.
do some mushrooms take you to the moon, if you know what I mean?
I mean, they have psychedelic compounds in them. Some other mushroom, well, the ones that we've talked about thus far, they don't have the psychedelic compounds. Like psilocybin is the compound in the mushroom that makes it psychedelic.
Okay.
And so there are specific mushrooms that are for regular consumption. There are some medicinal properties of psilocybin mushrooms as well, which I would like to explore, but also I don't know the rules of natural grocers if I'm allowed to talk about things that are not legal like that. But obviously we know that it's highly medicinal, great for depression, bipolar, anxiety, various things. And so some are more for food nutrition, others are for going to the moon.
Or prevention.
and also helping to create more neural pathways. I mean, that's what really medicinal psilocybin mushrooms do. That's why they are promoted as ways to become more introspective in oneself and to heal different neural pathways in your brain.
That's why they're
ultimately.
wonderful.
That's
for
what they're
mental
studying in Colorado. That's why they've been decriminalized. Thank you. I almost said outlawed, but that's not the case.
No, the opposite.
They've been decriminalized in Colorado and I think Oregon as well, maybe Washington,
Yes.
somewhere in the Pacific Northwest, to study them more and to get down on paper the effects that it has on our system in various ways.
I just noticed your shirt.
Yeah, right.
I
Look
just
at it. I got it
I
off
was
of
like,
Amazon. There are all
that's so
kinds of
perfect.
mushrooms. Yeah. Thank you.
It
It
was
was
like
on.
Miss Frizzle when she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
Honestly though, when I bought it, I'm like, oh my god, I should have like a themed outfit every single time.
Do you know what that is?
Do you know what causes the psilocybin to grow in a mushroom versus it to not appear?
No, I
Do we
don't.
know?
Honestly, I think it's just the species of mushroom. That is the extent of my knowledge.
I know
It's
that
really
many
specific.
psychoactive mushrooms grow out of dung and
Oh, cool.
include specific,
Yes.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so that sort of thing, like, yeah. I don't know if that's the case with all psychedelic mushrooms,
Mhm.
but yeah, and animals will seek them out too. Get some neural pathways
For sure.
grown in there.
So fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
I
Go
have
ahead.
tons,
Please.
if you don't mind.
No, come on.
Okay, I was taking notes as we went. So we talked a lot about the anti-cancer properties.
Mhm.
I'm curious if you have any information about cancer rates in the U.S. versus in the East where they utilize this mushroom.
Real good question. That's a great question.
I don't have an answer for that specific question or like a statistic. Shoot, I feel like I did read somewhere where it said some kind of percentage, but no, I don't have that specific answer. But I would be highly interested in learning that specific statistic because they do incorporate so much more over there than it seems that we do.
Yeah.
I told Andreas, I was like researching the first presentation, I'm like, why are we not just putting mushrooms in these retirement facilities or like they're, where older folks go to hospice, or whatever. I mean, I know hospice is kind of like the tail end of life, but I think they're supportive in all stages and phases of life.
Sure.
So I would be very interested to know what that looks like based on the location in the world.
If
You know, what you said inspired me.
Yes.
I was thinking there should be like some type of, I just call it the World Health Organization. I know there's
World
one,
Health
but
Organization.
this actual World Health Organization where all they do is compare